He works for ESPN, and ESPN puts him on MMA fights. And when he sits there and then says, look, I don't want to see women's MMA. I don't like seeing women get punched. That's okay as his personal opinion. He doesn't like to see a woman in a fight. But when you work for a company that shows those fights, and every UFC just about has either at least one, if not multiple women's, fights going on, you are saying something about the people that you are working for and with. You are stepping in it, man. You owe every women's MMA fighter an apology, because you have a voice beyond the norm. You work in this industry. And when you say that, you're just not thinking. I don't care if you don't like it. That's okay. You can say, personally, it's not for me, but that's about as far as you would go. Just like, there could be a female reporter saying, personally, men's fighting isn't for me. Okay, that's all right. But when you are working in that industry, shut up.
Yeah. Well, you work in the industry that you work for the company that basically establishes almost all sports. They basically come out and they produce, or they put out content that other organizations, whether NFL and Major League Baseball, whatever, NBA, that produce these things. Like they come out and they put them on their platforms. And now for you to say that, where do you go next? Do you say the same thing about, like, you know what? Women's basketball just isn't as popular as men's basketball. So
it's not as good.
It's
just not as good.
I mean, I could play the reverse role though too. Like, U.S. men's soccer isn't as good as women's soccer. U.S. women's soccer.
But that's the truth.
Yes. I mean, but in terms, like,
it's not as popular. Let's be honest. Popular.
It's not. No, it's not. But we should find way. I think, like I said, I agree with you that should have found ways to say it differently, or he shouldn't have said it at all. Like,
not at all.
Especially when you work for that company. It didn't make any sense. I just bless him for giving us the opportunity to talk on this, because this is going to be wonderful. He really just comes down to, look, they say things on their network, what is it called? First Take, whatever. I think that's what he's, I think that's his show. He has a show where they just basically blurt out absurd things. Oh, and Skip Bayless and this, and Skip, you don't know. It's almost who can outdo who in the most dramatic, lame outlandish comment you possibly can come up with. That's him. That's what they do. That's that when we talk about clickbait material, that is what they're doing. They're creating. I think it almost seems like they sit at home and look at themselves in the mirror and they recite what they're going to say to them the next day. These are my topics. This is what I'm going to tell you. I'm going to put Skip Bayless in his place, and I'm going to say this, says Stephen A. And just these are the remarks, and people they've grown to tune into that shit every single day. It's garbage. It really is garbage. It's that type of media, that type of stuff that's put us in the situations that we're in now, I think, nationwide, where it's just everything is now who can say and outdo who to get the most attention. And we started this all with this real life TV stuff, the Kardashians, the other thing. It's like all the other married housewives and, whatever it is, all that stuff. That's where it all kind of started. Now it's whoever can say the most outlandish thing on TV to get more eyes and viewership for them to watch. It's ridiculous. And this right here is someone who's putting his foot in his mouth. I wonder what they're going to do with him. Like, they just gave him a raise last year, right? It was right around February last year. He got a raise. I want to say he's getting paid some astronomical amount of money. I want to say it was either 9 or 19 million a year. It's 9 or 19 million a year. It's something around that. I recall. I do believe it has a 9 in there. So it's either 9 or 19. But regardless, you're making that much money. I know NFL players that don't even make that much money.
Well, I will say this. He did say several things that I will agree with. I do not believe that in fighting that there should be the crossover of a woman fighting a man.
Absolutely
not a skilled woman against a skilled man. I don't believe that's good competition, and I don't think that's the right thing. And he said that. But I would love to see Chris Cyborg and Stephen A. Smith fight, because that's not what he's taught. That's not that, skilled woman against a skilled man. I mean, that's a skilled woman, and that's a dick punch uppercut man.
That's
punch
the baby, punch the mama, punch the baby, punch the mama.
I'll tell you what, I guarantee it won't last a minute. So
great. I'm watching the video right now. It's hilarious.
Oh, geez, it is so embarrassing.
How mad should he be? Did he fire that coach or whoever took that video and posted it? I would have fired him. I wouldn't be friends with him anymore. That's embarrassing.
Dude, I would pay. I if they had a GoFundMe, I'd pay that son bitch. We're putting that out there.
That's so good. Yeah, I have look, I agree with him in terms of I have no desire to see, even when you said a trained man and a trained woman, I have no desire to see a trained woman beat up on an untrained man either. I have no desire to see any of that.
If it was Steven, I might.
Yeah,
I really
true.
do now. Yeah, I do.
You could throw.
If you've got that mouth that says some of those things, maybe you deserve to have one of the people that you're talking about who's put so much time of their life to becoming unbelievably outstanding at something. An Amanda Nunes, a Chris Cyborg, a Valentina Shevchenko. I mean, he has no concept how fucking good they are.
Valentina would kick him 2 or 3 times and that guy would limp out of there. He'd hobble. They have to pull him out on a stretcher. Yeah, I have no, you know what? While they're at it, why don't they just throw Skip Bayless in there too? I can't stand watching and listening to that guy either.
I don't listen to him.
Yeah,
I know who he is.
Yeah,
I've listened to him a couple of times and said, that's it.
Their shows are just so over. Shannon Sharp jumps in there as well every once in a while. Sometimes he's very even keel, and sometimes he's like extremely over the top, like these two clowns. But mainly with Stephen A. But he's gotten to where he is by saying all of these outlandish things, and we as a country or as a company, the ESPN, as a community, they honor him by paying him the amount of money they're paying him to do those things. And I think I don't know, do you put pressure into ESPN to say, hey, you've got to either put out an apology? Or
you remember that retraction page you were talking about on our last show?
Yeah, it's going to be on the back page of.
It's going to be on the back page.
Yeah. Go to our website. It's 3 clicks. It's like 3 clicks. You get to the retractions. Yeah, that's where Stephen A. will post his retraction. It's embarrassing, honestly, especially when you work for a company like ESPN. You should be more aware of the situation in terms of how many other women in other sports heard what he just said and was like, what are you talking about? They've worked just as hard as all the men, and they've established themselves in this sport. And let's just be honest, women's MMA has broke through way more than women's boxing has.
Oh,
way more.
Completely.
And I recall a certain promoter who said, there'll never be women in the UFC. I don't know who that was, but now look at
who was that guy?
I don't know.
Nameless.
But let's be honest. Women's MMA is absolutely amazing, especially with the top girls that are there. Like you've got the top, say 7 to 8 girls in each weight class that are phenomenal.
100% agree. Okay.